You're very welcome back. A topic I wanted to cover because I'm all about the mastery. I was asked why. Why do most people not reach mastery? I believe that the reason why is I reflect on myself. It's not about anybody else. It's not about how they do things. My belief about mastery is it's all about me, not about my rifle. How does that sound? Mastery is not about the score. It's not about numbers. It's for me, it's about a combination of physical and mental control over every element. Think about it. The rifle is an inanimate object. Given that it's set up correctly, put that in a bench and it actually will stay exactly precisely set up. And every time you pull the trigger, the pellet or bullet lands exactly the same place every time. Give give percentages in millimeters here of the variances. So what's the variable then? The variable has to be me. And that's what I believe mastery is. It's not about getting a better rifle. It's about getting a better version of me, getting the most precise version, getting the most accurate version. And that's not an easy one. That's really not an easy one. Um, this isn't, by the way, about self-help motivation. It's about digging into performance. What actually makes me tick or it tick, if you want. I would say that a lot of people are chasing identity. There's a lot of I perceive it anyway as they're chasing numbers. You'll see loads of videos online, and you'll see this is how I shoot a 10, and they'll have the shiny equipment. They'll show the good shots, by the way. There's the key thing. They'll actually show videos of how they got a 10, but they won't show the other three or four, maybe, that were out in the skioks, out in the 7-8 land. They'll show the looking into the video. You'll see gym videos, for example, of people bench pressing stuff like that. Well, that's all phenomenal. And by the way, that's a part of the whole thing. But bench pressing for me would do nothing. I don't need to be muscular. I need enough to hold a rifle steady, by the way, and I need the lungs to be able to breathe in and breathe out so that it's steady and it helps to calm me. But I don't need to be a bodybuilder, for example. And I definitely won't be running any marathons. So where is all the work done then? And the work is done in breaking down exactly what helps that rifle to be the best version of itself, if you want. So I work to try and create that voice, the same one it sits in on a bench, the same one that continues to deliver that precise shot every time. In a bench, in a voice, it repeatedly fires in the same spot over and over again, if we can accept that. Now, if you want to start being pernickety about it, of course, the pellets, the bullets, they're going to be invariant in quality. They might be percentage of a millimeter or disaligned. What I'm talking about is the difference between something that continually goes into the 10 and something that goes into the 6 this time, 7 this time, 10 this time, 8 this time, 7. So that type of thing. So I'm talking about not the rifle. Like, the rifle is not the problem. It's when it's attached to me, that's where the problem starts. So I have to work on the physical side of things and the psychological side of things so that I remove the noise from the rifle to create that voice again. And when I use the word voice, I need to be very careful. I don't believe in the death grip. That wouldn't be me. I think that the perfect shot, if we're going to call it a perfect shot, let's define a perfect shot here so we're not all over the place. A perfect shot is one that can be reproduced. That's what I'll call it. It's not a 10. It's not. It's not a 10.9. It's not. The perfect shot is the one that's repeatable. So, for example, if I'm in hitting the sevens, everything is, if I could line up a rifle and fire into the same hole every time, repeatable, even if it's in the sevens, that for me is the perfect shot, because I'm repeating the process over and over again. And if I can get it into the same spot every time, I can move that spot everywhere. But if I'm aiming for a 10.9 every time, I'm at a loss. Now it's hit and miss. Now it will, it won't happen. You can't predict it. You don't know if when you come under pressure, well, we know under pressure we don't get a hell of a lot better. We maintain our average if you want. And that's where the excitement for me comes. So I've designed this process. I actually call it 0.0s. That's the thing, and it's something I've been working on, and it actually carries under stress as well, which is that's the important factor for me. A repeatable process under stress that delivers a defined outcome, a predefined outcome. That's what I've created, and that's what I work on every day. To do that, there's breathing involved. Might sound basic, it's not. Emotion, tension, ignoring the environment, by the way, and maximizing the process execution. That's for me, that's a description of the elements that are involved in mastery. It starts with breathing, by the way. You might not understand it if you go to a range and you get people to hook you up to, for example, a SCAT system. It'll show where the rifle is pointing or the pistol is pointing because it's a laser system. When you see yourself breathing in and out and the rifle is moving up and down as a result of it, breathing's fierce important. The emotion side of things, psychologically, you need to be able to block that out or deal with it in a way that doesn't allow your heart rate beat come up, doesn't allow muscle tension. You don't want adrenaline firing off all over your body because we're in the wrong sport for adrenaline. Adrenaline would be grand if you were going to run 100 meters. It's not good if you need to be precise enough to shoot half a millimeter. Remember the target size that I'm looking at. When you look at the targets and you see the big black dot, that's not it, by the way. In the center of that big black dot, in 10-meter rifle shooting, there's a half a millimeter of a white spot. And within that half a millimeter, there are 10 concentric circles. Starting at the outside of that half a millimeter is the 10. The next circle in is 10.1, 10.2, then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. 10.9 is the perfect shot. I have to be hitting 10.5 and above. So that's percentages of a millimeter are what I'm talking about. So for that, emotion wouldn't be a good one if it's bringing adrenaline in. Tension, tightening up the muscles. Now you've got tremors. You can actually see your heartbeat in the rifle. I can anyway in the sight. So you don't want that speeding up on you. You need to be able to accept and live in that environment. Training environment, or sorry, qualifying would be different to final. If you're lucky enough to get into a final, qualifying, you manage it. You're given an hour and 15 to do 60 shots. Hopefully you're left to do that. You get to a final now, the control is taken away from you and they do the calling out. You're brought out and you're told the position you finished in, and there's crowds involved, and then you shoot 5 and then they come along, go and in first place and in second place and in third, and now that's meant to create a bigger excitement atmosphere. If you can't handle that and deal with that, there's a good chance that you're not going to be able to go to the highest level. Like people who, God help us, driving lessons. The day you do the driving test, that's when you know what pressure is. Someone sitting on top of you with a book, they don't talk to you, and all they're doing is putting ticks in a box. That's the type of something that everyone can relate to. And that also can transfer into a shooting environment. Think about it. And then if you start letting it into your head about, oh, there's people watching, now that could be something that throws people off. So that's part of the mastery also. The way I look at a lot of this stuff, it's I'm probably particularly well set up for it. I early on in my career, I went along and I did computer programming. I got a certificate and all that good stuff. I'm very comfortable reading 1,000 lines of code. It's like the most relaxing environment ever. Um, I really I enjoy it because it continues the same every time. Code is fantastic because it doesn't suddenly decide it's going to do something different a second or third time around. You have to change a variable to get a different outcome. That's actually it, and that's possibly why when I translate that back into my shooting, my process is very similar in ways. The only reason that my shot is not repeated is because I've put a different variable in there. Could be the sight alignment, could be the pistol grip, could be the shoulder placement, could be breathing, could be a load of things. but I'm quite good at analysing that type of thing and rectifying it on the spot. I would say that the amount of hours that are done is irrelevant unless they're quality hours. You'll hear people saying about, oh, like, for example, I can tell you right now there's 40 hours a week done by me minimum. And people go, okay, well, that seems like a lot. Or some people go, oh, yeah, no, I do 40 as well, therefore. So my thing about the 40 is each one of those hours is executed with the same level of intensity that I perform at a competition and will perform at future competitions. I adopt the same mindset during training as I do for competitions. I don't suddenly get serious at a competition. I get the same mindset during training sessions, the same focus. I never end up in a training session without a plan. I'd never end up with a plan without a reason. There's a reason I'm doing a training session. It's not to train, it's to improve, it's to examine, it's to understand. There'll be different types of training. So it could be stressing. So we'd set up a training session around stressing me so that we see how I perform my process. It could be an investigatory. Something's been happening in, for example, the site alignment. Why is that? Well, we'll run a training session based around that. But the outcome is to remove that element that's preventing me from performing. And that's what I do, and that's how it's done. I would say I've come across some people who think firing lead is the measurement. Oh, I fire X amount of shots a week. Now, I can tell you I shoot at minimum of 1,000 a week, but that's based on analysing what I've done. It's not a metric of I need to shoot 1,000 so I know I've achieved something. It's a metric of this is what happens week in, week out within my training program. I counted them all up, but my metric is the program, the training, the quality of what I've done in the training. I train with the mindset of a competition, with the seriousness of it. I designed the training plan around the same elements, very serious, towards I visualize while I'm shooting, for example, that I'm on a firing line in Los Angeles, 28, surrounded by the best in the world. Now that brings focus to my training. You could not stand there thinking that you were on a firing line with the best in the world and just do a half-arsed attempt. It's not, well, for me, it wouldn't be possible. Um, the beauty of the way I look at the scoring, it's a thing of, they talk about not counting. You shouldn't count the numbers. You shouldn't keep track of scores and things like that. For me, it's data. There's data around everything. The beauty of the systems we have, the electronic systems, it provides data. The scat traces, they provide data. But my problem here is good outcomes can come from a bad process as well. I've done it. I'm pretty sure anyone that's in the shooting environment will tell you they've done it too. They won't shout it and scream it. You pull off a 10.9. And earlier on, when I started shooting, I would have attached everything to the outcome and gone, or the outcome of the shot. Everything I was doing, well, I got a 10.9, therefore everything I did in that last shot, I'm going to do again. And the next shot's an 8 early on. I wouldn't be living in the 8 lands anymore, I can tell you. But the reality is, something went wrong in that process. I got a lucky score. And unfortunately, I wanted to attach all the success. I get another 10.9 by doing the same thing, but the reality was the process was flawed. Something broke in it and gave me a positive outcome. Again, I've drawn the analogy of the clock being broken and yet it's right twice a day. So you need to have quality metrics involved in your training and in your process to make sure that a 10.9 is a 10.9. Now, here's the thing. If you put two 10.9s in there, and I know shooters will giggle at that one because a 10.9 is, it's a lucky thing in its own way because of the mechanics around the manufacturing process of some of our ammunition. I'm using it for people who have never been on the picking up the ammunition and actually validating it and evaluating its quality. But if you can put two 10.9s in, then you can go, okay, well, there's a potential that the process I've just executed has actually brought about that 10.9. But again, it's only a data point, and the data point is not for me the excitement. The excitement, if there is any, it's not even excitement. The happiness I get from knowing that the process I executed elicited a positive outcome and I can repeat it. That'll sound quite boring. Um, that's that's the boring land I live in. Business is no different, by the way. If you think about software delivery, if you think about delivering any project, projects have been got over the line by pure flukes. You couldn't tell. I've been involved in some of them. Never led them. I won't lie to you. I've never led one that's been a fluke. It was being watched the whole way out, and things didn't. We didn't like luck can fall on your path, but you need things lined up so that they both cross. That's what I'd say. But I've seen things that in projects that really people got lucky, and unfortunately, then the wrong people got involved and actually created processes they thought around that negativity, so that, for example, someone who lost the head in the middle of a project and started screaming and shouting, and there was a change made somewhere, and suddenly now it works. And now that person feels validated that they can scream and shout every time something goes wrong because they were right last time. Now, how would that feel? Wouldn't happen in my camp and won't ever happen in my camp. You can lie to everyone else, but you can't lie to yourself. I like to talk about the 2 o'clock look in the mirror. So we've been there. Everyone has been there, and if you haven't, it's coming to meet you. You can look in the mirror at 2 o'clock in the morning for whatever purpose you're looking in the mirror. There's only you in that mirror. You can tell everybody outside that you're this, that, or the other. For example, I could screw up in a shot. If I tell my coach I didn't screw up, it was something else. Well, first of all, I've learned nothing in that. Also, I know I screwed up, and that would eat away at me. That's why I love the environment we have where I can say this is what happened, and I don't have someone waiting to be right. The worst thing you can have is someone waiting to be right. But that 2 o'clock in the morning thing, that'll get to you because yeah, you come off the line. We all do the self-analysis. I don't know anyone who doesn't tear themselves apart in some way for a very, when I say tear themselves apart, I don't know anyone who doesn't reinvestigate things. You come off a competition, you may not be happy about what you got, or you may be really happy, surprised happy is the worst type of happy. But you'll know when there's no one around, you got lucky. If you're smart, you'll go, well, we need to rectify that so that that luck is something that can be repeated, aka changing my process to align with it. But you can't lie to yourself about it. And if you do, you definitely won't be improving. That's the reality as well. And I do believe that's a big part of the mastery is investigating yourself, but only in terms of what can help you improve. They call analysis paralysis and stuff. I analyze quite a lot of metrics, but they're only related to things that have an impact on the outcome. I definitely don't I would definitely have more depth in my analysis. And that's something I've heard. Oh, you analyze things to death, and I'd be going, no, that's a throwaway comment in itself. I analyze everything that's relevant. And there's a lot of stuff I couldn't bother because it's not relevant. It's just noise, and I don't do noise. I would say that mastery is curiosity about yourself too. If you can come with a childlike interest, we've all had that book you can't put down. I would say that mastery for me is the book I can't put down, and the book is about this rifle sport. It's about investigation. It's about finding out what's the next page, what's behind that page. When I get this done, whether it's the hold, whether it's the sight alignment, whether it's the trigger release, whether it's whatever, it's the enthusiasm. Passion comes along with it, but it's the enthusiasm and the interest and the excitement that comes from finding out the next best thing about the sport that I'm involved in. And for me, that's everything. So I'd like to thank you for dropping by, and I hope to see you back again. Thank you.